Dum-dum. Hi, everyone. Hi, Brenda from Lakeland, Florida, and Irene from Montreal, and Christine from Fort Wayne. Christine, my dear, I was just thinking about you just last night. Please contact my office. I have an idea. Okay? Hi, Paula from Birmingham, Alabama, and Susan F. from Massachusetts. Hello, everyone. Phyllis in Oklahoma. And hi, Harry. Hi, all my friends. Jackie, Pamela from Mighty's. Hi, Ann. Good evening, Teresa. Sandra from Houston. Harry. Carence, I'm reading down the line. Hi, friends. So good to see you all. It's Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and we do one thing and one thing only, and that is we go over homeopathy. I teach you what I know, and I like to see you helping each other, because this community, this is bigger than learning. This is bigger than an education platform. This is, my friends, an experience. It's a different way of living. This is an experience. Being able to learn something new, maybe reinforce something old, maybe clarify something unclear, and then help each other, not just those in your home and in your neighborhood and your church and your school, et cetera, but also to be part of this kind of a community. It's a rarity, friends. Becoming less rare, which is good, but it is a rarity. So hi, everyone. My name is Jo at Calabrese, and it is Monday night, and this is what we do every Monday. And for those of you who don't know, join us. This is new. If this is new to you, I know you're going to like it. The water's just fine here. And for those who are old friends, hi, friends. It's so good to see you all. Let's see. I'm assuming you're going to be able to hear me all right. Too soft. Please embrace the mic. I will embrace that mic, Barb. Thank you. Yes, the volume's a little low. Okay, is that any better? Just let me know how that goes. It's the strangest thing. I don't have trouble with it when I'm on Zoom. I don't have trouble with it when I'm recording. I don't know. It's only apparently it's only when we're on this. Low volume, says Libby. Irene from Montreal says, yay. Okay, yay, much better, says Phoenicia. Good, great, good. Excellent. I'll just stay close to this mic. All righty. So let's start with this book that many of you have, and maybe you want to own too, because you can always give it as a gift. Yes, better when the mic is closer. Okay, a little better. I'll get even closer. Is there a setting? No, there's no setting. We have done everything, Gail, but thank you for, maybe someday we'll figure out a setting, but so far, no good. So this is the book, How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor, by Dr. Robert Mendelsohn, just the way the composer spells his name. Robert Mendelsohn. He wrote this book in the early 80s. I just lost my place. And he used to be on Phil Donahue and a lot of other programs. Check him out, YouTube. Dr. Robert Mendelsohn, and watch him. Controversial, way before his time. And yes, give it to all new mothers. That's right, Tina. Hi, Tina. All mothers, and actually even before they become a mother, because he talks about the preparation in advance, what you need to do even before you conceive. So it's, what is this? Good evening from Lake Winnipesaukee. I think I did it right. Winnipesaukee on vacation. Hi, Donna. So here's the book, How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor. And it matters not if you don't have children, friends. It's just, it's so concise. He's written many other books. Male Practice, spelled M-A-L-E, Practice, talking about how women's health has been twisted and how the modern medical field has done such a disservice to women in general. Great book, says Marty. You're right. You're absolutely, it's a great book. Because women and children, well, and men too, everybody, the only reason that women got the raw end of the deal is because women go to doctors sooner than men do. Women go as soon as they get their menses, right? Their mother drags them in, or they have acne, bam, right into that OBGYN, and then the mother loses full control. So girls start going to a doctor at an earlier age, and so they're trained very early to be fearful and to don't be able to figure it out yourself. You must go to someone else, the experts. So that's, and men don't usually go to a doctor until they've had an injury, a sports injury, right? It's all about sports injuries for boys, for men, generally speaking. Nowadays it's more gut things and skin and that kind of thing because children are so unhealthy today. But generally that's when they would start going, as if they had an injury. Well, if they were fortunate enough to never have an injury, they might not get to a doctor until they're in their middle age. So that's why he's written about women's health as well. Not in this book, but in male practice. So it's very inexpensive. I just bought another copy today. I think I have 4 or 5 copies of this book, but I want to make sure I've got enough. They're using our children and women and all of us as profit centers. So let me just say this. Not only do I agree with just about everything he says in this book, actually, I would say probably 99.9% of what he says. And let me say parenthetically, he was not a homeopath. He knew nothing about homeopathy. Or at least he didn't indicate it in any of his books, and I've read all his books from cover to cover. So he didn't, but he had wisdom. He had been in practice long enough. And as I always say, you see, he doesn't have any hair. See how he's bald? I always say, don't go to a young doctor, friends. Go to a doctor that's very seasoned, gray hair or no hair. Hi, Diane. Nice to see you. Oh, my gosh, this is so great. These are all friends. Friends and relatives. It's a beautiful thing to see. I bought it on Amazon, Marie. I just bought it this afternoon. It's not exactly the same cover. Somebody has done something with it. I hope it's not bastardized, but it is. I hope it's the same book. So at any rate, he knew nothing about homeopathy, but he was a very wise man. And you have to, sometimes, even though he's quite obvious about what his intention is and how important it is that we take control of our health ourselves. And how do we do that? We read. We read. And we read, and we read again, and we read some more, and then we read more, and we get different opinions, and then we put them into practice. And then what do you do again? We read. We don't watch movies at night, friends. I can't remember the last time I watched a movie. And I'm sorry if I don't mean to be at all condescending, but if you want to have control of your life in any way, whether you want to buy property or you have to buy a car, you read, right? Don't you have to educate yourself? When you need to find out what kind of mortgage you can get, don't you dig into it? Well, the most important thing you can do in your life, besides your faith work, is your health and your family's health, right? So we read, and a lot of reading. And we can still use YouTube videos and listen to them while we're washing dishes or driving, right? Fernicia says, we read our gateway books. You're so great. And Murphy and more. Amen to that. Same here, no time to waste on movies. There's no time to waste. I just told a story to someone who interviewed me, I think it was for Facebook, and I told her that my father was and I've told this story so many times, he was a professional, he was a bugler in the Navy, and then he played trumpet, that's what a bugle is, essentially. And then he became a professional trumpet player. He also had a business in construction, but he was a trumpet player, and he did take classes for that. And then as he got to about in his maybe late 30s, early 40s, he decided to switch from trumpet to flute. And he took up the flute. And as I said in this interview, he was an autodidactic, as we all should be. We learn, we study, we strive. So my father would pick me up from school when I was in high school from time to time, and between us on the front seat would be his flute, his prized Haynes silver flute, which we still have, beautiful instrument. And I don't have it in my home, by the way. So because I'm on the internet, I don't have it in my home. And it used to sit between us, and whenever there was a stop light, he would pick it up and he would play a riff, or he would play some scales, or he'd work on his embouchure. And if I said something while he was playing for those 2 minutes at the red light, he would turn to me, and he had my kind of eyebrows. That's where I got them. And he would lift his eyebrows, and he would perform back. He would speak back to me in music with his flute. Never a moment wasted. Life is too short, friends. Never a moment wasted. Okay, let's get into this. My mother was no slouch either, I have to say. My mother always had lots of projects, and the house was, shall I say, immaculate. She kept an incredible home. Okay, so anyway, I go to this section. This is chapter 16. If you happen to have the book, it's page 191, but you needn't have the book. This is what he says to us. It has always struck me as paradoxical that so many parents worry unduly about common non-threatening illnesses and yet give scant attention to the childhood accidents that could kill more children than all the major children's diseases combined. It's not colds, flus, ear infections, even urinary tract infections, strep throat, conjunctivitis, otitis media. No, it's not that. It's not even abscessed tonsils. It's not even swollen tonsils. It's not mono. No, my friends, it is accidents. Now, this book was written in the 80s, but he says more than 8,000 children under the age of 15 will die accidentally in the United States this year. I'm sure it's more now. Many of those accidents could be prevented and many deaths avoided if the proper measures were taken promptly after the accidents occurred. And I contend there's another step missing here because he doesn't know about homeopathy. The other step is to be prepared. Do you have a larder? Do you have a pantry? Do you have a freezer? If you do, it means you're prepared. For food? Well, we can live without food for a long, long time. As long as we drink water, we can live without. We can even do a dry fast for days. If it's a wet fast, for weeks, months, year. But if somebody has an accident, what are you going to do? You are at the mercy of whomever you approach to ask for help from. So you might want to just be prepared with what? Knowledge and remedies. Okay. The most important rule, he says, if your child sustains an injury, most important. Now, this is not just your child, it's your dog, your husband, your neighbor, doesn't matter. What's the most important rule? Avoid panic. Because as soon as you panic, you're doomed. And so is the person who's suffering. You will just do whatever anybody tells you to do. And they will tell you whatever they want you to do. You are now in their camp. You're no longer in your camp, you're in their camp. Sometimes that's okay. Other times it might not be so. So you might want to be prepared and not panic. So you know how they say to put the mask on the mother first or the parent first before the child when it's on a plane that's on its way down. Have aconitum on hand. Aconitum 200, you have to be prepared. When you see an accident that is shocking, because accidents are shocking. 1 minute there's no accident, everything is just hunky-dory. And the next minute is an event that can be sobering. So you must not panic. Aconitum 200 for those people who are panicking. Okay? The most important rule, if your child or anyone you love sustains an injury, is to avoid panic. Nevertheless, you must try to remain calm because your response to your child's trauma, I'm skipping around a little bit, will require the exercise of immediate sound judgment. Sound judgment. Good judgment. Judgment that comes even with some experience. If you don't happen to have the experience, at least know where your information is, what remedy you're going to use, and where the remedy is, and own that remedy, right? How silly it would be if you owned these homeopathic medicines and somebody was just hit by a Zamboni and you don't know what to do. Well, we're going to talk about that. Amen. Fear will take over if not prepared. There's no doubt. Lots of wound dressings and homeopathy. It worked for Dorothy Shepherd. You bet. Another great book. Any book by Dr. Dorothy Shepherd. These books are of old. Okay. So, I unapologetically will show you my book, A Survivalist Guide to Homeopathy. The Survivalist Guide to Homeopathy. It took me well over a year to build this book. Well, actually put it together once it was compiled. It took a few years. This really is my opus. I've said actually my academy is my opus, but this was a pretty important book. And so if you're interested, Joette's Learning Center, and scroll down and you can go down to it. But I'm going to go directly tonight. Well, you don't have to have the book. Let's talk about some things that could show up, shall we? Let's talk about injuries. Now, everyone knows, and if you don't, that's okay. Most people know, let's put it that way, that if there's an injury, especially to soft tissue, like a blow, soft tissue meaning the breast, thigh, arm, etc., we're going to use, thank you, Elizabeth, thank you. Great book, also well done. Thank you, Carrie. You're going to use Arnica montana, but you know what the Banerjees say, and it's in this book. They say with an injury, you're going to use Arnica montana 200 and phosphoric acid 6C. Wild, isn't it? Who would think? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean, do you have to have phosphoric acid 6C? No, you don't have to, because everyone knows Arnica montana does really great work. But to add that 6C of phosphoric acid, such a good thing. Pamela says Arnica, Bellis after that for torso. Good thinking, Pamela. So we start out with Arnica because that's the first blow, and in the beginning of the injury. And if it doesn't act well enough, especially for soft tissue, we're going to go to Bellis Paranis. I love what you're saying. Listen, I mean, you folks are amazing. Bellis or Arnica, says Kitten. So good. Let's see what everyone else is saying. What do you mean Boron no longer offers Joette's coupon code? It certainly does. So, Stina Kennedy, just who's with me tonight? Natalie, can you help Stina? Boron does offer my Joette coupon code. That has not changed. Something must have been, maybe refresh or something. Let's just see. Would you recommend the homeopath to treat my asthma? Go to my Academy of Practical Homeopathy graduates. We've got a group of people who have graduated from my academy, and they take cases. Yes. Nancy says, I'm so thankful things are changing with Bobby Kennedy Jr. We have worked so hard for change, and thankful you are part of this movement. Oh, my goodness. Well, you're part of it too, Nancy. We're all part of this. I just ordered yesterday, and the code works great, says Susan F. Okay, so see, sometimes it just needs to be refreshed. No, it's fine. Let's see. Make sure you are on, Ellen says, make sure you're on the Boron USA, not Canada, but Boron USA. And Elizabeth said, I made a Boron order last night and used the code just fine. Okay. So, do you use the arnica and phosphoric acid at the same time? Well, they're saying that it's a plus, so you're using them at the same time. You could use them. Look, it's best to follow the protocols as they are written, because we know the Banerjees picked up on all the patterns which were most valuable. And they couldn't help but notice them. So I always like to use the protocol as it is written. Now let's just see. We've got, how about this one? What if there's, if someone has been impaled? It happens, friends. Oh, here we go. Irene from Montreal says, boron code is Joette 20CA. Joette 20CA. Thank you, Irene. So someone has been impaled. Now, in my book, the way I've written it here is that I wrote stramonium. Stramonium, 200C. 200C. Every 3 days. But you're also going to be using remedies specifically for the possibility, well, for pain, right? You might want to use hypericum. Ledum is more for a puncture wound, while stramonium is more for being impaled. A puncture is a little poke. It could even be a kind of a larger poke like a nail, but when we're talking about being impaled, I would not necessarily count completely. I'm not saying ledum is wrong, but you can see what the rationale is with the Banerjees and why they used another remedy. Stramonium. Yes, hypericum. Yes, and hypericum for pain. More than one way to bake a biscuit. Right? Says Elizabeth. It's an inside joke, and I'll let you in on it. Maybe I've already told you folks. I used to say more than one way to skin a cat, but I think it attacked the sensibilities of some people who love cats. And so I changed it to more than one way to bake a biscuit. Okay. Now, what's great about stramonium is that it's a great medicine for infections and for extremes. If someone's impaled, that's pretty extreme. Got it? Pretty extreme. All right. That's another good one. Now let's go to, I want to see what everybody's got to say here. I want to show you another one that I think, and I'm on page 99 of my book. This is a pretty hefty book, by the way. Okay. For burns. Children are exposed to burns. It happens frequently with children. You know, bonfire in the summer, gas stove, touching a hot electric stove. Harry, more than one way to skin a biscuit. Oh, that's so much better than bake. Oh, Harry, may I use that? Yeah, Elizabeth said, never offended me, though I love cats because of who it was coming from. Thank you. Someone so compassionate would never really skin a little kitty. I would not. I'm more of a dog person, but I do like certain cats. My son's got a cat I don't like. But I have had my own cats, and I have liked them in the past. Okay, so burns. It depends on what kind of burn. Chemical burns, very important. Is stramonium used for preventing infections? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Burns, Shelley, says cantharis. Kelly, Shelley and Kelly both say cantharis. Barbara says cantharis. You're absolutely right. And we also want to think about other kinds of, there are different kinds of burns. There's causticum. There's cantharis. There's aconitum. So it kind of depends a little bit on the burn. Survivalist guide said, hi, Noreen. Okay. And so these burns, aconitum alternating with causticum or cantharis. You see, aconitum can be used in actually any of these situations. I wouldn't count on it solely, but it would be kind of the intercurrent medicine that we're going to use to help with the shock of all of this. I love cantharis and urtica urens for burns, says Elizabeth. Right. Thanks, Noreen. Great. So I guess Noreen is telling someone what book we're using here. So there could be all kinds of burns. There's a thermal burn. There are light burns. On a light burn, we can use apis. Apis mellifica is another possibility. Heat burns to the eye. Anytime we have a condition around the eyes, friends, we're going to be thinking of aconitum. Aconitum is the arnica of the eye. But if there's swelling under the eye or swelling around the eye, swelling, whether it's from a burn or it's from a bee sting from a remote part of the body, or it's a reaction to something someone has eaten, maybe they've eaten shrimp, so it's a food reaction. When we see swelling around the eyes, and what I mean by swelling, it's like a bag of fluid. We're going to be thinking of apis, regardless of the etiology. Okay. Let's see. Can you get the Survivalist Guide by purchasing the course? It is all one, Phoenicia. It is the course and the guide. It's all one with the CDs, etc. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. Elizabeth says you won't regret it. My daughter had burning finger from a jalapeno pepper. Teresa, I'm so glad you brought that up. Nothing helped. I think because we didn't get the oil from the pepper completely washed off. Yes, you have to be careful with peppers. they can do a lot of harm. They can really burn. They can burn the sinuses. They can burn the mucosal membranes. So you have to be very careful with those jalapenos. People take it lightly, and I don't think they should. There are a lot of plants out there that are out there to get us. I talked a little bit about that last time, didn't I? I'm so thankful things are changing. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we've got. Let's see if we got some other questions here. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. People are helping each other. What can I do for dementia? Alzheimer's? Go to my course. Truly, go down Joette's Learning Center and scroll down to Mindful Homeopathy. I do a lot of work about regarding dementia, Alzheimer's. And change the diet, my dear. Change the diet. Cut out those carbs and sweets. Cut them out. Goodbye. High fat, coconut oil, butter, 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 bacon, butter, butter. Beef, fatty beef, cut out the carbs. Okay, what about internal bleeding? Burning from an ulcer in the colon. Well, it's a little different. We're not going to go that way tonight. We're going to try to stick to these injuries if you don't mind. Oh, jalapenos, food of the gods, says Deborah. Well, I have to say, I love a hot, spicy anything. I actually put cayenne, tincture of cayenne pepper in my coffee every morning. All righty, let's see what else we've got here. So when I stand with Mighties tonight, I'll be answering questions. So if you want to do that, then do indeed. Stay with me. Let's see. How do you spell that? Danielle's asking. I'm not sure what word she's looking for. Stramonium. Here we go. Every 3 days or every 3 hours. Well, if it's right there when it's impaled. Did I say every 3 days? Please excuse me. It's every 3 hours. Please excuse me. Thank you, Lisa T. Thank you. Cantharis calendula arnica for burns. Yes, symphytum for burns. Symphytum can be useful. Hi, Tina. Causticum, Helleborus for Alzheimer's too. Yes, but don't just stop there. We don't want to just. There's more than one way to look at Alzheimer's and dementia. Banerjee protocol. Okay, be sure to like, comment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love homeopathy. Grew up with our mom taking us to homeopathy doctor overseas, says Faye. Good job. Yep, yogurt. Now, this is so interesting. Yogurt or milk products can help with burns from peppers. Ask me how I know. Well, Angela, I'll tell you a story myself. I used to have lunch with the Banerjees from the second year on. The first year I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't know them well enough, but the second year they started to invite me into their dining room and I would eat with them. And so they had a huge dining table. It was really very large, very round, and in the middle of it was a Lazy Susan. And on the Lazy Susan were stainless steel containers, and in each of them there were condiments of sorts. So Prateep, who was, by the way, kind of devilish, said, "Joe, would you like a pickle?" I said, "Sure, thank you." Now, they're not, I knew they weren't going to be like pickles that we know in the U.S. I knew it was going to be something different and interesting, and I was always game for something new. So he said, "Here," and he picked it up and put it on my plate. So I took a bite of it, and I took a good bite. And it was so hot. It was so painful. I said, Prateep. I said, "That is so hot." He said, "Well, you didn't ask me what the temperature was. You said you wanted a pickle." These are the kind of pickles we have here. So his father called to the person who was waiting on us at the table and said, "Bring her some milk." And he says, "The only thing that's going to calm it down," and he's absolutely right, milk or yogurt. And they also had yogurt. They gave me both milk and yogurt, and it does calm it down immediately. You can use that not only in the mouth, but you can use that on the skin for burns as well. So you can use the homeopathic as well as milk or yogurt. Let's see. I used Dawn dish soap to wash my hands after cutting jalapenos. You got to use something really strong like that. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not answering the herniated disc, Flora Jean, because we're talking about children's injuries, and it's unlikely, and it's a little bit different. It's more of a chronic thing at this point. But I have talked about it, Joette Calabrese. It might not say herniated disc, just put in disc. It might say ruptured. You'll find it on my blog, I believe. Is there a kit that I can get where I can pick and choose the remedies I want? Most kits have remedies I already have. Yes, certainly you can do that with Helios. You tell them what you want, and they'll organize the kit for you. Homeopathic substitute. Well, here's the thing, though. Let me just say this, Donna. The kit is the mother, and the kit is what we use when we travel. You're not going to scoop up all your remedies in order to travel. So I have many remedies that I own that are my supply on a regular basis. And then I have the kit for travel or when I have to dash over to someone's house or do something like that. Then that's what the kit is for. So yes, you're going to have a lot of doubles. But if that doesn't appeal to you, then by all means you can contact Helios in England. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Let's see. What if your child has a possible broken bone? Well, if there's a broken bone and it needs to be set, and I would hope that you might know. If you don't know, then by all means, you go to the emergency room. By all means, you want it set. And you're going to use remedies such as bryonia. Nobody thinks of bryonia for broken bones, but my friends, bryonia is amazing for ailments from pain. Ailments from movement. Pain from movement, any ailment from movement. So you're going to use, of course, arnica, right? You could also use aconitum. You're not going to use symphytum. No, you don't use symphytum until the bone is set, and it's clearly set permanently. So you're going to use arnica and hypericum for the pain, and then you're going to use bryonia for that as well. Okay. Yes, we do have to go, don't we? It's 8:32 Eastern Time. Set it, then symphytum. Thank you, Harry. You're absolutely right. Okay, friends, here we go. I'm going to say goodbye to all of those out there, and except for my mighties. So stay on, mighties. Okay, Elizabeth said,